Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Minister of Economy and Planning for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Al Jasser.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صدق الله العظيم. بداية أود أن أرفع لمقام خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز والأسرة المالكة الكريمة والشعب السعودي أحر آيات التعازي لوفاة خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك عبد الله بن عبد العزيز رحمه الله رحمة واسعة لقاء ما قدمه لمجتمعه ولأمته. وأرجو من العلي القدير أن يوفق ملكنا الجديد وولي عهده وولي عهده، وأن يحفظهم ويكلأهم، وأن يوفقهم لخدمة هذا الوطن الكريم. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank my friend, His Excellency Mr. Abdul Latif Al Uthman, for inviting me again. I don't know why he invites me again, but that's his problem, to this August forum, and for the success in again attracting an impressive group of panelists and speakers to this event. Let me begin with a few words on the events of the last couple of days in my beloved country. I have often been asked by people based outside the kingdom, particularly by credit rating agencies and analysts, about the issue of succession in Saudi Arabia. Such questions may stem from concerns over political stability or uncertainty over economic policies. My answer has always been that these concerns were misplaced. Our system is very clear. When a king passes away, the crown prince takes over. And this is what you saw a few days ago when King Abdullah, bless his soul, passed away. King Salman took over, and the whole Saudi people pledged allegiance to him, and the transition was smooth, dispelling any speculation about the future of Saudi Arabia. The same thing happened when King Abdullah took over following the death of King Fahd in 2005. As for our economic policies, our kings and their economic advisors follow a deliberate process, taking a long-term view which weighs all sides of a particular issue with the primary aim of ensuring long-term stability and prosperity to our citizens. So you just had a clear demonstration of how robust our political system is, and you can rest assured that the policies and reforms undertaken under the late King Abdullah will continue unabated under the leadership of King Salman. Let me now turn to our session today. The title of the session is Look South, South to Success. Allow me, Lord Mandelson and my colleague panelists, to be a bit provocative here and suggest that true success in increasing growth and competitiveness of developing countries will not, I say not, come from cooperation in any specific permutation between North and South, whether South and South, North, South, or North, North. It will come from a change in our development paradigm. Let me explain briefly with the limited time I am given for this address. Since the middle of the last century, our thinking as development economists has been dominated by the dualism of developing economies. That is, the existence of a backward sector, meaning agriculture, with surplus low productivity, low wage labor on the one hand, and on the other hand, a modern sector, manufacturing or raw material extraction, characterized by higher productivity, higher wage labor. Development then was seen as the process of moving the economy and the labor force from one dominated by the backward sector to one dominated by the more productive modern sector, which would result in higher value added and higher living standards. The more successful countries, that is those which were able to achieve higher growth, were those which took better advantage of their low labor cost to develop their modern sector. This was basically the story of all the development successes in Europe, North America, and Asia. The more successful cases were the ones which were smarter at adopting available technologies of the time to maximize their value added. This process, which I like to refer to as traditional economics of development, has guided our thinking and our practices as economists and has steered us towards investing in education, health, infrastructure, which has helped developing countries achieve tremendous progress. Such progress is visible in developed as well as in successful developing countries. However, in our long, successful drive for development, we have not paid as much attention to the issue of efficiency. As a result, inefficiencies have flourished, not only in government activities, which people traditionally associate with inefficiency, but also in private sector activities, and not only in product markets, but also in factor markets like labor and capital. By the way, this phenomenon did not happen in developing countries only, but in advanced countries as well. I am sure that participants here can point to numerous inefficiencies in their own industry and/or country. I will just highlight a couple from my own country. Regardless of the metric one uses to measure development performance in Saudi Arabia, achievements have been truly impressive since the 1970s, and one cannot but agree that the country is light years more advanced and competitive today than it was then. Let me give some examples. From a life expectancy at birth of 53 years only in 1970 to 75 years today. From a 31.5% literacy rate in 1970 to 94.3% in 2013. From 9,000 hospital beds in 1970 to over 64,000 beds in 2013. From 8,000 kilometers of intercity paved roads in 1969 to over 64,000 kilometers in 2013. From only $5.6 billion in non-oil exports in 1999 to over $54 billion in 2013. The list can go on. These are enormous achievements that we are very proud to have made. But now, we realize that we had not paid enough attention to the efficiency side. For example, despite the tremendous physical road infrastructure network completed in the last 2 decades and before, we still lack a project management office, or what's called PMO culture. This refers to skills involved in documentation, guidance, and standardized metrics for project management and execution. Skills which allow economies of repetition in the execution of projects, basically the type of skills that a company like Bechtel, for example, had when it helped us build 2 of our major industrial cities, talking about Jubail and Yanbu. We have not yet acquired these types of skills on a broad basis. What I mean by that is that these skills have not been embedded in our day-to-day practices to make us maximize the value added from the resources we devote to various tasks. As a result, we keep making the same mistakes again and again and continue to depend to a large extent on foreign expertise to implement large infrastructure projects. Let me cite another example of our lack of adequate emphasis on efficiency. Despite our impressive network of highways, our large country has the unfortunate distinction of having some of the highest road fatalities in the world. We have 20 deaths from traffic accidents per day, and that I would attribute to lack of an efficient traffic management and enforcement system. Every participant here has no doubt had an encounter with some of the chaotic behavior on our roads. I believe that that could be substantially remedied with a more efficient traffic management and enforcement system. And what is even more important, I believe that such a system can be put in place without the need for additional resources. I could go on with examples of efficiency measures we can introduce, whether in education, health, or infrastructure, that would add significant value to our economy. But I think that these two examples are sufficient to illustrate my point on efficiency, and in the case of traffic management, to show that some measures need not require additional resources. So I believe it is high time for us economists and development practitioners to redirect our attention to what I will call economics of efficiency. That does not mean ignoring or neglecting the traditional economics of development. Rather, we need to ensure enhanced focus on efficiency because I believe that there is an umbilical cord connecting the traditional economics of development and the economics of efficiency, as both try to bring about or enhance development with capital D in all its aspects. And I believe that these measures or these issues apply to developed as well as developing countries alike. Panel participants and economists in this audience will recognize that I am not inventing here new concepts or new approaches. Efficiency has been part and parcel of our economics training all along. What I am advocating is simply a change in emphasis, the need to focus on efficiency, which in my view has become imperative. It has become essential for sustained growth in a highly globalized and increasingly competitive world economy. To survive and to flourish in this new environment, a country needs to be competitive. To advance, it needs to be even more competitive. Without focus on efficiency, increasing competitiveness, in my view, will be elusive. So will the prospects for a South-South panacea for underdevelopment. Thank you very much again for giving me this opportunity, and I look forward to a lively discussion by this distinguished panel. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Lord Mandelson.